Hi everybody and welcome to Fab Tacks. I'm Rosemary and in today's video I have part 2 of my Dollar Tree DIY high-end room decor inspired by West Elm. This is part 2 of the series and part 1 will be linked in the description box and part 3 will be published shortly. But right now let's jump into part 2. For the first DIY I'm going to be making this wood block centerpiece. To begin, I'm going to take 5 of these little wood boxes with a drawer from the Dollar Tree. You see how the drawer just pulls right out of the box. I'm going to separate those two, the box and the drawers. And I'm actually, for this project, going to be using 5 of the boxes and 1 of the drawers. And I'm going to put the other 4 aside for another DIY project. And then I'm going to be using some of this Waverly Antique Wax for the stain. Now, you could use regular stain or some diluted paint. I had this on hand and it was the color that I was going for, so I decided to use this option. But before I do the staining, I do want to reduce the size of my little drawer. So remember, I had 5 of the boxes and then just 1 of the drawers that I'm going to be using for this project. So what I did was I measured up 1/2 inch and drew a line all the way around the box. And then I'm going to just take a utility knife and put my ruler there up along the side of the line to make sure that getting my line nice and straight, and my utility knife isn't going to kind of veer off there. So I'm just holding that ruler in place, and then I'm going to cut down with my utility knife about 3 or 4 times to kind of score the wood. It is very thin wood, so the utility knife works just fine in trying to cut this off at this point. Now, one thing I want to point out, that I did measure up about 1/2 inch on this, but after I had completed it, I thought I probably should have done 1 inch, because looking at the original piece, the block that is shorter is a little bit shorter than 1/2 inch shorter. It looks like it's almost half the size of the other boxes. So if you like the way this looks when it's done at 1/2 inch, then keep it at 1/2 inch. If not, I would suggest going up to the full inch for your cut point as to where you're going to make your line and cut the box down. So then once I had the wood scored, I just went back with some pliers and just kind of, bent it back and forth gently, just trying to get that piece to break off where I wanted it scored. And then I found that if I kind of go to the ends first, that's the best place to get the best, most accurate snap. And then you can see there where I had just snapped it off that there was a little piece left over. That's okay, because I just went back with the edge of the knife and kind of shaved it down a little bit further, and I'll do it again here on the other side. And then I just also finished it off with a sanding block to get down those fine edges. And now here we can see the stained pieces. And as you can see, I did not stain the inside since that will be face down. And I have the 4 boxes and the 5th one is a drawer. And then the other remaining 4 drawers, as I mentioned, will be used in another DIY. I did stain those both inside and out. And this DIY will be shown in West Elm number 3. But now back to this one. What I want to do for these is to glue all of these pieces together, and that heart shape is going to be on the inside. Make sure when you glue it, it is on the inside. And I'm going to be using this Tight Bond Quick and Thick glue. This is a multi-surface glue, so it works great with these wood boxes. And what I'm going to want to do with these is to put strips of the Tight Bond glue as well as some hot glue, and then I'm going to hold these 2 pieces together. My camera shut off, didn't realize that I did not get that footage, but you will see it here now on the next box that I'll be connecting. So I'm just wiping up some of that excess Tight Bond glue off the back, off the seam there. And now once that hot glue, so I just want to kind of do some isometric exercises there, holding those 2 pieces together just until that hot glue is set and I have a nice tight seal there between those first 2 boxes. Now I'm going to go ahead again. Now here you'll see the 3 strips of the Tight Bond, and now I'm going to go ahead and do 2 strips of the hot glue. And this is just to make sure that I can get it holding tightly together, while the Tight Bond, which is the glue that's really going to hold these 2 wood pieces together, or these multiple wood pieces together, is going to be the Tight Bond. But that hot glue will give us that nice tight fit so that the tight bond glue will seal close together without using clamps and other things. And like I said, just, little isometric exercises there, pushing those boxes together nice and tight while that hot glue sets up. And now I'm going to do the same for my little heart drawer. This is the smaller piece that I've cut down. And I put on some of the tight bond glue as well as some of the hot glue. And I'm going to just kind of center it there on the adjacent block and just kind of hold it again in place to make sure that it has the hot glue has a nice close seal so that it holds these blocks in place while that tight bond sets. And then I'm going to just finish it off with that last block, gluing it with the tight bond and then the hot glue. Now for the candle holders / vases on top of the wood blocks, I'm going to be using these glasses that I actually got from Target. Dollar Tree does from time to time have glasses. I wanted something that was nice and straight like this without any kind of ribbing or decoration, and I did want them to be kind of matching in 2 different sizes. And I remembered that at Target they did have these very West Elm or Crate and Barrel looking, IKEA looking glasses, and they're only $1 each, and they do come in these various sizes. Now what's even nicer is that they also sell them in a 12-pack box. You can buy them individually or in this 12-pack, and the 12-pack's only $9.99. And since I plan to use these in multiple DIYs, I just went ahead and got the whole box, and then that gives me actually 2 free items because otherwise it'd have been $1 each. And now here you can see the glued together wood blocks and the nice base that they make for the candle holders / vases. And so in the inspiration piece, there are 3 of the smaller or shorter vases. They're kind of shorter and wider, and then 2 of the longer ones. And so I put the glasses that I purchased in those configurations, and then I can just go ahead and add my candles or plants according to how I want to decorate them. And then here you can see on the left-hand side the West Elm version. Now this has been decorated and used in multiple different applications. I really love that one with the dirt and the little plants in it. I think that looks fabulous. And then on the right, you can see the DIY version. And in that version, I tried to mix the best of both worlds, some plants, some candles, get a little bit of everything in there. But you can see all the options on the West Elm side as to how you can use these, even make 2 like they did in that centerpiece. For DIY number 2, I'm going to do this MoMA Collection bowl and vase. These are great because they're a quick and easy Dollar Tree DIY. I'm actually going to start first with a recycled can. That's dog food. You can use tuna, pineapple, whatever comes in about that size can. And then one of these small Dollar Tree globe vases, fishbowl vases, I guess you could call them as well. And then I'm actually going to use the glass of what used to be a votive candle. I already used the candle and I just had that left over, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. But you can use any votive in that shape for this project. And then I'm going to take all the pieces and I'm going to paint them with some ultra matte black spray paint. Now, in addition to that, I want to make this bowl, so I'm going to use this dog food bowl as well as one of these flute-shaped votives. And so that as well, I'm going to paint with some of the black ultra matte spray paint to prepare the surfaces and also to help prevent scratching. I would suggest first wiping all the surfaces down with vinegar and then applying a coat of Mod Podge. For this application, actually spray Mod Podge would be best since you want that nice smooth finish. Another option would be to use brush on chalk paint, which really does seem to have some staying power and doesn't need these other steps. If you are planning to just use the spray paint only, I would suggest to still use the vinegar to prepare the surface. Then you can spray multiple very thin layers of paint onto the surface, letting each layer dry thoroughly between the applications, and this should also cut down on any nick. Okay, now that all of my pieces have been painted, I'm going to go in with some E6000 glue and I'm going to attach that fluted votive and the dog bowl. Now I'm going to take the dog can of food that has been spray painted. I'm going to add some of that E6000 to the top of that and then flip my fish bowl upside down and then add some glue there to the top, and then my votive will go on top of that. And then here we can see the West Elm pieces to the left. They are in different colors and you can certainly use those if you choose. I have black on hand and so I chose to do black. For the third DIY, I'm going to be making this adorable little dash pot. And for this DIY, I'm going to be using the glass from an old jar candle. Now this is a candle from Aldi. And if you haven't tried their candles yet, you need to. They're fantastic. They're only about $3.99 and they're about as good as anything you can get anywhere. And I've already wiped down the surface with some white vinegar to prepare it for the paint. And now I'm going to be painting it with a paint mixture, actually. I've done this in several of my last DIYs in order to create more of a concrete look. And I'm taking some spackle and some Waverly Mineral chalk paint. And in this case, I'm going to be doing 3/4 parts of the spackle to 1/4 part of the paint. And I got this recipe from a wonderful blog that I will link in the description box below, so you can check out the recipe as well as the blog. But you can see how nice this paint is. It goes on so nice and smooth. I'm just loving this in different applications. And I'm sometimes playing with the combination. Sometimes it's half spackle, half paint, and play with the colors. Make it white, make it different, different shades, all kinds of different things. So it's a really neat recipe and a really neat paint, and it enables you to turn all types of different objects into a concrete or cement type finish. And I will apply this in a thin, even layer and then let it dry and then do 2 more coats. And then while my first coat is drying, I'm going to go ahead and take my little cubes from the Dollar Tree, these little woodcraft cubes, and I'm going to paint them with some black paint. You can use spray paint or brush paint. And then once my cubes have been painted, I'm going to take 2 cubes and glue them together. I'm going to make 4 of these sets, and those are going to form the little legs for the bottom of my pot. And then here's what my little container looks like after I've painted it now with 3 layers of that spackle paint. And now I'm going to just go ahead and add my little legs. So I've already added some Titebond glue to one of the sets of cubes that are going to make up my legs. I'm going to just add it there to the bottom. And then I'm going to do the same for the other 3 legs, just adding some Titebond and then also some of the hot glue to hold it in place. And then when all 4 legs are attached, I'm going to go ahead and add some of these little cube bars here to the sides, little things that stick out, little spikes, so cute. And I'm going to just kind of put them, the pattern is kind of up, down, middle, up, down, middle, but not as exact as all that. So kind of in that format, but not as exact. And so here's the finished project. And then to get some of that dotting on that was in the original piece, I just took a black Sharpie and began making all little dots all the way around the whole piece, kind of getting it nice and dense there, kind of going back over and adding all the dots in to make sure that it kind of has that same look as the original piece. And then here is the original West Elm version. They do use a nice bright blue for the blocks, and I decided to just go with a regular black block, but you can certainly use the bright blue if you choose to be closer to the original. Now the original did cost $85 and this version cost probably about $2 to make. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this second edition of Dollar Tree DIY high-end room decor inspired by West Elm. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to give a thumbs up, and please share with any family and friends you think would also enjoy this video. If you plan on making any or have a favorite, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you're not already a subscriber and you like what you see, please consider subscribing. We'd love to have you join the family. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on FabTax, where we're putting the extra in ordinary, one DIY at a time.